Hey, I'm Whitney.
And I'm Greg, and this is the Unblock Yourself podcast.
We personally know what it's like to feel stuck, living on autopilot, checking all the boxes, but wondering, is this really it for me?
We genuinely love having conversations with people who are living cool lives. So we thought, hey, we should record these conversations. And by having them on a podcast, we can ask all kinds of questions to get to the bottom of how they got unblocked and are living these cool and inspiring lives.
In each episode, we'll have honest and raw conversations about the highs and lows of their journeys.
Once in a while, it'll just be the two of us, sharing what we're learning along the way as we build our own lives, and where we're screwing up right alongside you.
So if you want some inspiration and actual things that you can start doing to make bolder moves and get unblocked in your own life, this podcast is for you.
So because you got up to go and get a drink, I did too. I went to our fridge, and I think the best thing about us recently getting into non-alcoholic options for beers and other things was seeing a bunch of non-alcoholic beers in the fridge. It's 11:20 in the morning. I was like, maybe it's a good time to have Harmon's Craft Brew. But no, I didn't. I just got a bubbly, but it feels like why wouldn't you choose that, right?
Why not? It's non-alcoholic. It's fine.
But I still feel a little bit strange about it. So there's a stigma that needs to get broken there.
Yeah, that's fair. Nice. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Whitney, you look tired. Are you tired?
That's rude. Who tells someone they look tired? No, I'm not tired at all, actually. I'm quite well rested. Thank you very much.
Why are you well rested?
Well, we have no kids this week, so that's been, I think that means we get a little extra sleep, a little extra downtime, which is nice. Obviously, we miss them, but it is nice to have a bit of a break from the kiddos.
Yeah, and for them to be having a good time, that is good.
Yeah, we're doing so much work on Waypoint. Waypoint is coming up in September. It's our first retreat, and we're going to make it awesome. And as a result, we're spending a lot of time making sure it's awesome and planning and putting in thought to every small little detail that's going into it. So yeah, it's a grind, but it's awesome.
The small things are big things.
This is great. But we do have a topic we're going to chat through. We kind of started this series a couple weeks ago, I guess now, on our values. So talking about our different values. I don't think we mentioned this last time, but we do have 6. So it's our personal values, but also Vienna Waits values. And those are resilience, which we already talked about. So we spent some time talking about resilience, growth and development, balance, gratitude, authenticity, and adventure. Adventure is what we're going to be digging into today. So talking a bit about adventure, what that means to us, why it's a value that we have, and maybe some of the dark sides of that as well. Dark sides of adventure, or the value adventure.
See, this is the hook. Nobody's going to listen to this unless there's a dark side or like a hook to really get people interested, right? The dark side of adventure.
Just be positive. Why do people need darkness in their life?
In order for there to be light, you need the dark.
That's fair.
That's fair. But in reflecting on this a bit, I think we did want to make it clear, why are we having a conversation about our values in this context? And to pull back a little bit, it feels like whenever we're having a conversation with people who are interested in what we're doing, I think one of the points of feedback we get is this appreciation for authenticity, which again is another one of our values, which we'll talk about. But just speaking openly about what is behind the scenes of what we're building, I think gives some perspective on what drives us, what makes us feel like things are good or not. And when you hear people talk about what their values are, as we are here, our hope isn't to just express that to anyone who's listening. It's really intended to inspire thought. If these are your values and this is how they show up and impact the way you do things, the way you think, what are those values for me? We're not trying to say that you need to have adventure or resilience or any other as your value, but our hope in these conversations is to show how understanding what your values are can influence the way you think, how things affect you, and then what you do. And we want to challenge people to think about these sorts of conversations and topics, and arriving at a place where you have a really good feel of what your values are, as a way to understand how to guide yourself through your life.
Yeah, I think values are more important than I realized, to be honest. Like, I never really thought about what are my values as a person. It's just not a place I went to ever. But now that we've done it, it's like harmony is a big one for me, and just feeling like I don't like conflict. Maybe it's the Libra in me. I don't know. It's like I Libra sign and the scales and balance. Like, I don't like it. I don't like confrontation. And so anything that's like out of, I guess, balance, or anything that feels like confrontational, I immediately, go into like my little shell. And now that I know that about myself, right? So it's like, it's just interesting. It can definitely shed a light, and make you can make decisions differently, and just understand yourself in a bit more depth, which is cool. So
Yeah.
this is my like 40-year-old self now, understanding my values. Look at me go.
Taking a look back in time. The subconscious is powerful. As you and I have both been learning, somebody in our program has been teaching us the power of the subconscious. And when you tune into those,
Mhm.
I think what is inside of you, and your values are a huge driver of that, you can understand so much more. So if we're talking about adventure today, Whitney, what do we mean by adventure? What does adventure even mean?
So formal. But actually, we did look it up because we're like, what's actually the definition of adventure? Because I think that can mean different things to different people. And um, so the dictionary definition is an exciting or very unusual experience. So it's participation in exciting undertakings or enterprises, the spirit of adventure. It's a bold, usually risky undertaking, hazardous action of uncertain outcome.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like it. I like that as a definition. It's very technical. I mean, we I don't think we looked at the definition when we interpreted it into our own value in our
No.
website.
Yeah, we definitely didn't, because the way we have a spot on our website. I'll put the link in the show notes. But we have a spot on our website that outlines our values, and sort of what they mean to us. And so what we wrote for adventure is, adventure fuels the soul. We embrace the spirit of exploration, whether that means travel, reconnecting with nature, or simply stepping out of our comfort zone. Adventure brings freedom, excitement, and a deeper connection to the world around us.
That's really good. That's
Yeah,
really
it
good.
is good. And I
Yeah.
think that's like, that shows up in different ways for us, right? Like, you mountain bike. I think that's a super badass thing to do. I mean, you've done it for a long time, but that's something that you love doing. Races, like you're mountain bike racing on weekends and things, and you love water skiing and getting behind the boat. And I think that's like really badass for our kids to see you doing those types of activities, right? I think that's all part of adventure. For me, it's more, I think, running. I do some backcountry camping with a group of girlfriends that, we've gone on these trips throughout the years, which is cool. Yeah, my races as well. I think that's part of it. We both love travel. Obviously, that shows up,
Yeah.
right?
Your next race coming up in October, I must say.
I am running a race in October. Yes, it's a half marathon, and it's in Muskoka. I'm pretty pumped about
Oh
that.
no, that one's going to be great. It'll be beautiful.
The world around us is rapidly changing. Over the next 2 years, up to 60% of jobs are considered at risk of being replaced or significantly changed by AI. Now more than ever, the world needs more authenticity, more humanity, more you. That's exactly why we built Waypoint Retreat. But it's not your average retreat. This September, we're spending 3 days bringing together entrepreneurs, aspiring founders, creators, and changemakers to finally give their ideas the time and space they deserve. We'll hit pause and take a step back to enjoy the natural surroundings at a beautiful glamping resort just outside of Toronto. We'll get inspired to discover our inner rock stars and prioritize the legacy we want to leave behind. And the experience continues with 3 months of post support to help you take action. We're being intentional about who joins us. So if you've been carrying around an idea that you want to bring to life, we'd love to see you there. You can learn more at vienna-waits.com/retreat. Now, back to the episode.
But I think besides us, we see it in the conversations in this podcast as well. And I think our first episode with Bob Mathers, he talked about being in New York and all of a sudden they see,
Mm,
oh my gosh, the Rolling Stones are playing. How could they not, right? And
yeah.
I think adventure isn't just going to New York. It's like I said, it's stepping into the unknown or hazardous action with an uncertain outcome. It's not knowing what might be ahead of you and leaning into that uncertainty.
Do you think it's spontaneity? Like, what's the difference? Like uncertain outcome or doing something unexpected? I think I don't know. I think there's a connection there.
I think there's absolutely a connection. I think that notion of certainty is, I mean, there's an absence of adventure there. So yes,
Hmm.
spontaneity, but I mean that's adventurous. I think if you were to broad banner it with what is an adventure for us, an adventure is booking a. It's not going anywhere, but it's booking a retreat in
Hmm.
February when we've not even got a location set yet or people lined up for it, and it's just going for it. I wouldn't call that spontaneous, but I would call that adventurous.
Or
But I
crazy.
think, or crazy.
Maybe a bit of a crazy thing to do. Let's book a retreat, said the people that have never gone to a retreat or ran a retreat before. But here we go.
But here we go. I think that there's something to, but that's something to having an adventurous spirit that would say, I'm in New York and there's a concert that I could go to. And I think that spontaneity, I think there's also an adventurous piece to that.
Yeah, for sure. I think Bobby Alou also, right? Like Bobby Alou had a really good one on the episode with Bobby Alou when he was talking about his rhythm quests. Like he does these trips to different places and it's really like for inspiration. I think he learned a new instrument or kind of travels and goes on what he's called his rhythm quests, which is super cool. It's completely aligned to adventure.
Yeah. I think it's these people like Bob Mathers, Bobby Alou, people in our program and friends, people who inspire us, I think embrace that spirit of adventure. And I think before we put our finger on that value and said that that's something for us, I think that would have been less clear. And now seeing that that's a value for us, I think that is a common thread with so many of these conversations, whether we're having them here or outside of the context of the podcast. But I think intuitively, adventure seems like a good thing. But you know me, I wanted to do some digging into, is adventure really a good thing? And if so, how? And how can it be helpful? And for anyone listening to this, we felt like, sure, we can talk about adventure and us, but maybe we can get some research behind this.
Greg loves research.
I know.
He's our research guy. If you ever see like a stat or anything, it's probably from Greg. If you see a quote and you're like, God, that's such a good quote, that's me.
I will not claim it to all be true, but I do love a good little bit of digging. I do. So yeah, we came up with a few things, a few benefits of adventure. And again, intuitively, that seems like a really positive trait. So first, grit and resilience. So adventure means doing things that likely feel uncomfortable. So if you lean into that discomfort, it builds your grit and resilience. And that is, again, intuitively true, but it's research backed by psychologists. And I think, Whitney, of you and your experience, you talked about backpacking with your girlfriend. You did two back to back trips. One was hazardous, and then the other less so.
Yeah, it's funny when you said like grit and resilience and doing things uncomfortable. Like, I think you can look at that two ways, like physically or mentally, right? It's like, I think that's too. So the backpacking stuff definitely, well, maybe that's a bit of both actually. Our first trip out, we went to Algonquin. There was like six of us, five or six of us, and it was so brutal. Like I don't think we were prepared for what we were embarking on. We definitely weren't. Like people's toenails fell off.
Not yours. Nice.
Yeah, the amount of Band-Aids that were used. No, I was okay, but yeah, I mean, not okay at the same time. Like, we hiked and we had to get to the next spot. Like, there just actually wasn't another choice. And it had been raining for weeks, I think before we went. So the ground was super soft and we were, having to like scale like what felt like mountains, like rocks in Algonquin. It was pretty bananas. But it was awesome, right? It was such an accomplishment. It was yeah, there was tears at the end of it. It was so great. So yeah, we've done a few other trips. Went to Tobermory, and that's like physical, but yeah, I guess it does turn into um, like a mental grit and resilience as well when you're doing it.
So, grit, growth, and resilience, adventure, good for that. Research backs it up, and our experiences confirm it.
Go on a trip, guys.
Yeah, go on the trip. Second one, though, there's more benefits to adventure. Social bonds. It helps strengthen a social bond. So there was a team of psychologists who they did a study about how getting out into nature can strengthen the bonds between people. That is a study that I want to either be a part of or do. But I did not. They already did the research, but they literally watched and researched people and what would happen socially to people who went out into nature and had these experiences together. That's not again to say that all adventures need to be in nature, but they took that as an example of just stepping out of your day to day. And
Yeah,
I think that that's a cool thing to do, but b can definitely back that up through your experience, but also ones that I've had as well.
yeah, and I think you're just when you're with people out in nature, presumably you're just more present. Like I think you're probably not on your phone and like connected to like to work as much. I mean, everyone has a phone on them these days, but I think there's probably something to that where it's like you have to talk. We're like hiking through the bush and we're chatting. Like, of course, we're talking and learning more about each other, and people are asking interesting questions, and we're going a bit deeper than we would on like a text message, right? So I think there's something to that. It's probably a bit of like disconnecting from other parts of your life and social media and all of those distractions to help us kind of get to some of those deeper social bonds.
Yeah, and it's very much related to that too. That it's in that mode of adventure. You're when you're out pulled out of your day to day routine. There's uncertainty that's been added into the picture, and so your goals become so much more aligned. So you're with a group of people, and so now we all may have different things on our minds that are occupying our attention and focus. When you're on any sort of adventure where there's more uncertainty, your focus becomes a lot clearer on a shared
Hmm.
objective or shared
Yeah.
goal. Get to the top of that cliff, or canoe to the other side of that lake, or find firewood for the fire. And when you do that with others, with other human beings, it just builds a social bond.
Do you think we're building a social bond in this entrepreneur adventure we're on?
I think we are. You
There's a
tell
lot of
me.
grit. There's a lot of grit here, Greg.
I think there's nobody I'd rather go on this adventure with.
Oh, that's cute.
What came to mind for me in a big way for this was, and we shared in some earlier episodes, just a bit of our story and how we came together. And 2020 was a huge year for the world, of course, but just it was the start of the ending of chapters and the beginnings of entirely a new chapter or phase of our lives together. Just to, I think to fast forward from 2020 to then 2024, when we were sitting looking at each other going, did we go through all of that hardship and all that pain and all of that struggle just to land here with salaries and a mortgage and saving for retirement? It didn't feel right. And I think this one struck home for me that there was this deeper sense of meaning or purpose. Like there's something else that we
Yeah.
must be meaning to do or be meant to do or have this deeper sense of meaning for what life should be. Going from what we did then to where we were then or where we were now. So there you have it. Growth and resilience, social bonds, meaning and purpose.
Yeah.
All benefits of creating a little or adding a little adventure to your life.
Yeah. Those are benefits. But yeah, I do think we should talk a bit about like this dark side. And I don't know if that's the right term for that exactly, but yeah, I think back to, my childhood and how I grew up, which I had a lot of instability. There was a lot of change. My parents were divorced. I flew from, Calgary to Toronto every year, like every summer. So there's a bit of that I talked about in one of our earlier podcasts, just my upbringing. And we moved around to a ton of different houses. My, parents had a lot of different jobs. And so I had a lot of instability. And I just wonder as I age and get older, and throughout my life and the decisions I've made, like how much of that has been me really wanting those changes versus, something that's buried deep inside me that, I'm like I need that instability. Like I
Being is it for you being stable or in a routine? I mean, it seems to me like you always just feel so uncomfortable. Whereas there's so much comfort that can come from routine. It just seems to me that when you're in that routine or flow, it almost just makes you feel like it's
yeah, it's like
it's not.
boring. Like I can't stay the same all the time. I just can't. And I know some people that can. Like, I'm one of my best friends in the world. I mean, she met somebody, they got, married quite young. They bought a house. She's been at the same job for about 25 years now, something crazy. Um, and she's so happy. She is so happy. And I think, like, God, I could not live that life, and she's like, I don't know how you make these big decisions in your life. And like, she looks at me like we're polar opposite ends of the spectrum. And, she had her house, her one childhood house that she lived in, and her parents were married and they had a wonderful relationship. And, and I think I, again, just had an opposite childhood of that. So how much is my adventure value, I guess, actually adventure or childhood trauma? You know what I
Well,
mean? That's the question. I don't know if that's dark side. I think it's just reality. It's
but
like
it but
some of
it
these, yeah.
but I think it can show up in these negative ways where I think there's this when you get into that routine or cycle, then I think it can create a bit of a sense of unease. So it's definitely that adventure value, and I think it's driven likely by some of that instability. But
Yeah.
I think it can cause you to maybe, I think, how to say this nicely, maybe not be the best to be around. Maybe it doesn't come out in the
That was
nicest
really
ways.
nice. You can be like,
Yeah,
Whitney, you're a raging bitch
you can
sometimes. You can
be
say that.
it can be difficult to be around, or and
I know. Sometimes I don't like being around me either.
I think
You
there's
know?
stress that comes up from it when there's not
Yeah.
enough adventure, and so that can be, I think that can be problematic. I think that
Yeah. I get antsy and need to switch things up.
even in
Hmm.
our relationship, like there's lots of people that they would love when their partner prepares a favorite meal for them. But if I prepare a favorite meal for you, it's like, this is not like, change it up, man. Like, get creative, try something new. Like, rainbow
I
trout again.
know.
Let's try something different.
Well, luckily you were similar and
Very
again, quite
luckily.
opposite upbringings, but luckily I think you have the same like spirit as I do in that way. I think you do like change and you like adventure and all these things. So I think it works for us, which is great because I definitely couldn't be with someone who's just like, this is fine. Our life is gray. And, you
I
know,
think this might be just the secret for us, is that we do match on that. And I've thought about it too, that where we presently live is the longest. It's the place where I've lived the longest in my whole life outside of my childhood home, and so this desire for adventure for me, that is definitely one of my values as well. I think has brought me to like a different home every other year, just as
and
I've
we've only been here for just over 4
just
years.
over 4 years.
For
And
context.
so, but I did grow up in the same house. My parents are together and happy, and I had that stability, but somehow that I absorbed that desire for adventure. And I did that thing where we moved and packed up everything and just went from place to place
Hmm.
until settling here, where now we both feel equally okay. What's next, and where
What's
to next?
next? I know we definitely, but we have so much going on the work front that I think that's keeping us busy enough that we're not looking at selling our house
Not just yet,
yet.
but if you're
Yeah.
looking for a beautiful property,
Yes.
give us a shout.
We live in Pleasantville. Absolutely.
So I think before we just to kind of bring it around, I think to before we'd even defined that this was a core value of ours, and we did that as part of putting all of Vienna Waits together. We we just found ourselves connecting with people who for whom adventure was also a value. And I think as we said at the outset, this isn't an episode for all of you to listen to us talk about our values. Is how do these values resonate for you, and how do they fit and bring things out in your own life? And as we've leaned into this notion of adventure, we've not just in our lives been attracted to people that have this as a core value for them, but we've seen people come to us and
Hmm.
sharing adventures that they're planning to go on. One of my very best friends in the world is moving to Australia with his family for
Yeah.
an undisclosed amount of time,
I think that's so cool.
and it's exciting,
Yeah.
we're sharing that the excitement for that experience so much because we're living our value of adventure. We're running a retreat. We're launching this business. We're planning a family trip, and we're going to Costa Rica at the end of the year. And we're just trying to bring that value to life in our own lives. And now people are going, oh, me too. Like we're
Mhm.
going here and we're going and doing this thing and check this out, and we're sharing it. And I can't wait for him and his family to do that. But it's coming through in our program as well. People in our program that are taking on these new adventures and trying.
Yeah. We have somebody who's moving to California for, yeah, work, a work opportunity that came up and packing up and leaving in September. It's just like, that's cool. What a great story to tell. What a great adventure to go on, and like just the different perspectives that you'll have and things you'll see and people you'll meet and all of the things that go along with that. Um, it's so great when we talk about people living on autopilot and how against that we are. These are people who are not living on autopilot and they're just making moves, saying yes to the bold, scary things and opportunities that come up.
And speaking of people who are saying yes to those opportunities, another person in our program, um, who she's just saying yes to all these new conversations, and we talk about this
Hmm.
all the time. That we've said it before in this already. Adventure does not mean packing up your family and moving to Australia, or it might. And I think that just saying yes to new opportunities, doing things that are uncomfortable, like posting on social media or
Hmm.
reading a challenging book. Just those things can be enough of that taste of adventure to move you into that space where you get those benefits of living a more adventurous life.
Okay, so we're going to wrap things up, but I think few key takeaways on this idea of adventure. Being adventurous, like, isn't something that probably many people self-identify with, and it's not something that's maybe just for younger people, as you might think, or retired people that once they're actually retired, then they can go on these trips and do these things they've always wanted to do. I think lean into it. Like if you have that restlessness inside of you, listen to it, and there might be some sort of adventure value that lives within you. Second thing, like being adventurous is a choice. So if you're feeling stuck, adventure can come from changing things up. It could be something super small, like making a different dinner, like not doing the same thing every night, breaking your routine, trying something new. I think, yeah, lean into that. And it doesn't, we've talked a lot about travel and people doing these crazy things, but it doesn't require thousands of dollars or a plane ticket. We had somebody on our podcast, Jennifer Moss, which we had a great conversation with, and she gave some advice on, the best ways to build empathy, which was really interesting, is like travel being one, seeing how other people, live and experience their lives, or reading some fiction. So I think it could be even that, right? Like, I don't know about you, Greg, you don't read a ton of fiction.
Yeah, I found it convicting. I think it it was a good perspective on how to build empathy.
Yeah, right? It's like get lost in a book. Like that's an adventure in itself. So we love adventure. Clearly, it's one of our 6 values. We have 6, and that's one of them. So it's obviously pretty high on the list.
And more to come on these. And I think
Yeah.
this is exciting. It's nice to take a step back from what we're doing on the day to day, have a conversation with each other, Whitney, to talk to you like this and to share this with all of you who are listening. We enjoy having the opportunity to connect with you and appreciate every time you tune in and listen. Um, Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think of these. We'll call them in between episodes because we love the conversations we're having with exciting people. We have some incredible ones coming up.
Hmm.
But let us know. Let us know what you think about listening to us and us sharing some of our ideas and thoughts. And we love hearing from you whenever you do.
We really would.
So thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
Thanks, all.
I will have the last word.
Mic drop.
Is over.
Stop.
Thank you for listening to the Unblock Yourself podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow and rate the podcast. Your ratings and feedback mean the world to us. We'd love to stay connected with you via our bi-weekly newsletter called the Vienna 5, where we share ideas and advice that we found helpful on our own journey to live with more intention. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Instagram. For those Gen Z listeners out there, no, we're not on TikTok. But if enough of you ask for it, we'll just have to do it at some point. The links to find us on social are in the show notes. The Unblock Yourself podcast is edited and produced by Bespoke Productions Hub. Thank you for being here.